first trait of empathy?
The first trait is knowing how empathy and sympathy are different, and then understanding when to respond with empathy or sympathy.
You talk about empathy and sympathy. What is the difference?
Well, the difference is that sympathy is really an intellectual understanding. You care about how that person feels, but you just have an abstract understanding. Empathy is when you actually put yourself in that person's perspective, and so you actually begin to feel what they're feeling. So it's really about putting yourself in another person's shoes so that you can really try and understand what they think and also what they feel.
And Renee, do you have an experience with empathy that really stands out?
Yeah, I do. I work at an organization that works with domestic abuse survivors and their children, and in addition to office work and things like that, me and another classmate of mine work as tutoring with the 5-year-olds. And so we were working individually with this one girl this one day, and she was not having a good day, and she was like running around the room, screaming, did not want to do her homework, spit on me, and then threw me in a closet. A very strong 5-year-old. And I knew that I was okay, so I wasn't worried in terms of that. And obviously I was really upset with what was going on, and I kind of wanted to lose my temper, but instead I took a moment, and instead of losing my temper and just screaming at the girl and telling her it wasn't okay, I decided to think about how the girl was feeling. And she was clearly not having a good day, very overwhelmed by where she was and where her family was at that time, feeling like she was powerless and didn't really understand how things were changing. And so instead of me just yelling and forcing my ideas on her, instead I thought about how I feel when I'm in situations like that I just described. And so I talked to her from the inside of the closet and my classmate also with her on the outside, and we talked through the feelings and colored them out because she was 5 years old, and really kind of put ourselves in her shoes, as you said, and thought about how she was feeling, and I think it was more effective.
And Ronit, it sounds like you started first with sympathy and that you understood intellectually what she was feeling. You mentioned powerless, and it sounds like she was a little bit afraid.
Yeah.
But then you took it a step deeper, and you went to that empathy, and that you were actually able to relate with her on how she was actually feeling. And it sounds like the outcome was much better because you were able to be empathetic towards her.
Yeah, definitely.
And it definitely sounds like empathy can really help your relationships to grow. Did you find that working with her?
Yeah, I think so. I think that by having a more empathetic approach, I think I gained her trust and kind of saw eye to eye more, and I think putting myself in her shoes and understanding her situation, definitely she trusted me in a different kind of way.
Find a partner and take turns describing your day so far. While your partner's describing their day, try to imagine what it felt like to be your partner. At the end of their description, tell them what emotions you think they might have had. Were you right? Then switch places so your partner has a turn.